WJR.
Shows.
Well, it's a public policy conference, first of all, and that's the intent of it. It's to go up there, it's to talk about issues that are important to Michigan and Southeast Michigan. And for the Chamber, it really is the basis for much of our work and our agenda. As an example, we're going to talk this year about a whole new concept called Translinked, and it's really logistics hubbing. And I think it's really exciting.
Explain it to us.
Yeah, I will. And Paul, you're a world traveler. You can understand this perspective. We live in a world today where the World Bank says that the logistics industry is going to move from $4 trillion to $14 trillion by 2020. And if you see the containers coming out of China and Asia, you start to understand this when you have 8,000 containers on the ship. And this all comes into the United States somewhere. And if you can bring cargo and people into your community and you can disperse it from there, you can build industries around that, as Louisville did with the UPS Worldport, where they have 100 companies surrounding it today. So we are looking at the national trends. You know, is cargo going to come in through Halifax? Is it going to come in through Baltimore, Norfolk, Savannah, Charleston? Where are the rail lines? How do they match up with us? So as we look at this, we're looking at it as a mega region from southwest Ontario clear down to Toledo. Toledo's got a great infrastructure around logistics. They have railroads that are important to us running by them. They have a good port. They have a good cargo airport. We have World of Run and Metro. The Aerotropolis that Detroit Renaissance is working on sits right in the midst of that. So as we look at all this, we're going to start talking about how do we link it? Where should our agenda be? We should be embellishing the new North Terminal at the airport, which is going to add so much to our total infrastructure for air. We should be now talking about how do we link those terminals? How do we go to a rental facility? And then how do we bring light rail into that facility and take it downtown and the rest of this metro area? These things are important if we're going to build a world-class region here. And so we're calling it Translinked, and we're going to try to get the vision out of Blouse's head down into everybody else's minds so we can all start talking about it, and we can go down to Washington and start demanding that instead of being donor state, we want more of that money back here to continue to build this infrastructure.
Well, the Aerotropolis is exciting, and way back when I was a kid, I remember the great megalopolis that was going to happen between Toledo, Monroe, Detroit, the whole area together. We've got all this shoreline, we've got all this water for commerce, for shipping, for tourism, for all of that. And you know, I've often said that it seems as if we were anywhere else in the world, we'd be like a must-see destination for travelers, for vacation, with all the water we have, all the things that we have to offer, with certainly golf, but boating and all. It's sometimes hard for me to understand why we aren't that magnet that we should be.
Well, even taking that waterway, we don't see it today when we look out the window at the river, but think about container ships coming in off the ocean through the St. Lawrence Seaway to the Great Lakes. I was told that if you cut down the number of channels, the locks, in the St. Lawrence Seaway, if you cut down the number of locks and you make them bigger, you can actually bring container ships into the Great Lakes. I asked the maritime administrator about that. He said, yes, that is true when we're looking at it. The question is whether the ROI is there to do it. But it's certainly an interesting perspective, and it adds a whole new thrust to what we can become as far as a port city, along with the airport and the rail and everything else.
Well, if you look at the airport as well, to be a world traveler, Detroit is actually a great place to start, to leave from and come to, from the world's perspective.
And you know, David,
talk a little about that.
First of all, I'll tell you that it's one of the best airports in the world.
It
and
is.
Every time I go somewhere else, you know, Dallas keeps getting thrust up to us as a great place for a new Aerotropolis. and I was just at the Dallas airport. Frankly, I don't think they have anything on us. Metro is a great airport, the way it's designed, the way it's laid out, and when you add the North Terminal and then you connect those terminals, it's going to be very difficult for anybody else in the world, I think, to really compete with our facility. The key in economic development is having direct flights to the world, and you can do that out of here. If Northwest has to merge, the Delta Northwest merger is great because it's like a puzzle that fits together well.
Right.
Delta is very good to the east. We're very good to the west. We just magnify our opportunities.
Yeah,
Metro wins there.
It's all good, yeah.
In a big way.
The region
well,
wins
especially
in a
when
big
Richard
way.
Anderson.
If that merger goes
great
through.
to have Richard back. When I say back, I think of Northwest as our home airline, and I'm disappointed that we're losing the name Northwest, but that's not a big deal. But you just kind of
feel funny.
You do. But Detroit is a big jewel, and he loves Detroit. He was there. That's his baby. I remember being there at the
it's his airport.
The groundbreaking and the ribbon cutting, from the beginning. And the fact is, we don't get to do this because we live here. We leave from Metro, and it's great. It's fine, and it really is. I mean, I do get to travel a lot, or have to travel a lot, depending on where I'm going and how I feel when I'm doing it. But the security, everything is so quick in Detroit compared to so many other places.
Yes.
But what we don't get to do is we don't connect through Detroit ever. And connecting through Detroit is a joy too. Which, that sounds funny to say, but if you've connected through Chicago or somewhere, it's a nightmare. Our airport is beloved by people everywhere, even people who aren't lucky enough to be stopping here. They say, this is a nice airport. Boy, that was easy, because they don't have to go through security again. They don't have to walk 10 miles and get on a bus and go to another place. So we do have a fabulous airport that's only going to get better. We have an airline that's a great airline that's only going to get bigger. And hopefully we'll have more nonstops and direct flights. But certainly we are going to become the place to be to go internationally. And since everything's going international, this global economy, and business-wise and otherwise, we're set for so many great things. We just got to get some little problems solved.
Well, I think the key to some of this, we were talking before we started the show here, is the speed with which we can get this done. We have to be the first player in the game and not lose this opportunity to a Dallas or somewhere else. And hopefully we'll talk about a lot of those issues at Mackinac. How do we take those barriers and get rid of them so that we can move forward expeditiously, much like Dubai has in our earlier conversation.
It's interesting, going back to Dallas, the one thing they have we don't have is a money source. They have little things out. They own a lot of land
right
at the airport there, and they have little derricks out there that pump gas out of the ground, and they have the oil rights. It's like
That's
in Dubai.
Helpful. That's helpful.
Dubai had Dubai's Airtropolis, they told us, was a $38 billion venture. That's with a B. And the way I figure it, they don't have to go raise that. They just go open a box. And here, think about a $38 billion venture in Detroit. We'd be scrambling for money from now to doomsday.
Yeah, well, and we may have to do that eventually with our infrastructure and changing, the water mains and all the other things that are over 100 years old and breaking all the time. We've got some, as every major city does. We've got some things that are going to come up as curveballs, but